So, guys, yesterday we had some breaking news about an airplane that carried the supposed Palestinian refugees landing at OR Tambo International Airport. And there's been an update on this story, but before we get to that, I want us to start with this article that came out yesterday. I want us to start where everything started. So, this article was released by News 24 yesterday, and it said that over 150 Palestinian refugees denied entry and stranded at OR Tambo Airport. The article continues to say that a humanitarian crisis is unfolding at OR Tambo International Airport, where more than 150 Palestinian refugees reportedly seeking asylum in South Africa have been denied entry and left stranded on an aircraft. The refugees, who arrived from Nairobi, Kenya on Thursday morning, were denied entry due to missing exit stamps on their passport, a move that Gift of the Givers claim was deliberately orchestrated by Israeli authorities to compound their plight. According to Gift of the Givers founder Dr. Suleiman, the group landed at an airport but were prohibited from disembarking the aircraft. By 9 p.m. on Thursday, the group of Palestinians were still on an aircraft. So 12 hours later, they were still on an aircraft. Global Airways, which flew the group in from Nairobi, confirmed the passengers were denied entry, stating that it had followed all the requirements under the South African and international immigration laws before flying the group in. The airline stated that it had shared the list of 153 passengers and their travel credentials with the relevant South African authorities 24 hours before the charter flight's departure. Quote, at no point to landing at Johannesburg OR Tambo Airport at 7:50 a.m. was Global Airways informed that the passengers would be deemed inadmissible. The airline statement read, quote, Global Airways is cooperating with BMA and will assist with the repatriation or onward travel arrangement for the affected passengers. It is not yet clear who facilitated the travel for the Palestinians. I mean, of course, it is the Ramaphosa's administration. Suleiman said the Department of International Relations and Cooperation's Minister Ronald Lamola had written to the Ministry of Home Affairs to waive the requirement for an entry stamp, yet this could have been implemented by some Home Affairs unilaterally on the humanitarian grounds, he said. Gift of the Givers volunteer Sarah said the passengers included a pregnant woman and children who had not had a decent meal since their arrival. You know, every time when they say that it was women and children, they justify everything by saying that it was women and children. So you can see that the administration of Ramaphosa had done everything in their power to make sure that these people are allowed into the country, because here it says that the Department of International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola written to the Ministry of Home Affairs to waive the requirement for an entry stamp, yet this could have been implemented by Home Affairs unilaterally on humanitarian grounds, he said. So this is what happened yesterday. This aircraft got here, and these people were denied getting out of an aircraft, but Global Airways says that, but we have spoken with the authorities in South Africa. We don't understand why these people are not allowed outside the aircraft, because we had submitted everything that we needed to submit with these people. So I don't know why. Maybe the administration of Ramaphosa was just trying to pretend as if they are shocked about what is happening, and let's go through all the, like, they were just like, it was just a game to them. Because why would Global Airways say, we have spoken to you guys, and why are you guys not allowing our people in? It makes no sense at all. So on an update on the same story, we are learning today that 160 Palestinian refugees finally allowed entry into South Africa after 13-hour ordeal on the tarmac. So this article, it says that after spending more than 13 hours on board a grounded aircraft at Johannesburg OR Tambo International Airport, 160 Palestinian refugees have finally been allowed to disembark and enter South Africa on Thursday evening. Global Airways, the Johannesburg-based charter operator that flew the group in from Nairobi to Johannesburg, confirmed in an updated statement that, quote, all of the passengers have been allowed off the plane and allowed to enter South Africa, adding that adding that they are in the process of clearing the immigration. Earlier in the day, the airline had said that the passengers were declared inadmissible on arrival, despite the fact that their travel documents and passenger list had been submitted to South African authorities 24 hours before the departure, in line with the immigration protocol. The passengers, all Palestinian nationals, who left Gaza on November 12, traveled from Israel to Kenya, arriving in Nairobi around 2 a.m. on the 13th of November before connecting to Johannesburg on Global Airways charter. They were never assured of their final destination and were only allowed off the plane at OR Tambo International Airport after hours of negotiations involving multiple governments, departments, and humanitarian organizations. Humanitarian organization Gift of the Givers confirmed it was on site to provide food, medical care, and accommodation to the exhausted passengers. Quote, these people endured 13 hours on board in inhumane conditions after fleeing a war zone, said Gift of the Givers. Many of them wish to apply for asylum in South Africa, while others plan to continue to other destinations. Gift of the Givers founder Dr. Suleiman earlier thanked Department of International Relations Director General Zain and the Justice Minister Ronald Lamola for stepping in to facilitate the refugees' entry, commending their actions as a quote in keeping South Africa's humanitarian and pro-Palestinian stance. Suleiman explained that the crisis arose because the Israeli authorities refused to stamp the refugees' passport on exit, leaving them effectively stateless when they arrived in South Africa. So I see that a lot of people are not happy about this. South Africans are not happy about this. I've seen people on social media, people are outraged. But I just do not understand where this outrage is coming from. Because you are talking about the administration of Ramaphosa, you are talking about the ANC, the same ANC that has totally collapsed the borders of this country and allowed millions and millions of undocumented people to come into the country. Why are South Africans making noise about these Palestinians when their countries basically do not have the borders? South Africans have failed to hold their government accountable for these open borders. And now their government, at every single turn, they are calling them xenophobic. And now people are outraged about 160 Palestinian refugees that are in this country. I've seen some people saying that, no, these people could be the terrorists. What if these people are some of the most dangerous people in this country? But the truth of the matter is that we don't have the borders in this country. And we don't know how many dangerous people we have in this country. And it is the fault of the ANC. It is not only the fault of Ramaphosa, but it is the fault of the ANC. And even with this thing of the Palestinian refugees that have arrived in this country, maybe this is just one story that has leaked. We don't know how many people that the administration of Ramaphosa has brought in. We don't know. Because if you listen to this story, these people are saying that, no, we have spoken with the South African authorities before bringing in these people here. So these people are being kept there. It was just for entertainment, to pretend like the government is shocked about these people that are coming. But Global Airways says that, no, guys, there's absolutely no way that we're going to take people from Nairobi and bring these people into this country without providing anything. So the South African government had already agreed to bring these people in. And what is worse, is that, man, as much as I don't understand where this outrage is coming from, we don't know who these people are. Just like with the millions and millions of illegal foreigners in this country, we don't know who these people are. We don't know what they are capable of. And this one, I think this one actually shocks, it scares people a bit, because you are talking about people that are coming from a war-torn country. Talking about the people that are coming from a war-torn country, some people are asking questions like, why didn't Egypt take these people? Why didn't Jordan take these people? Why didn't other Arab countries take these people? The truth of the matter is that these people are not wanted there in the Middle East. They don't want anything to do with these people. And the big question is why? Why are those Arab countries not taking in these people? That is the big question. But I guess it made sense for these people to come to South Africa because South Africa is the one that took Israel to the International Court of Justice because of the war that took place there in Gaza. South African government are the ones that did this. So they knew that there's absolutely no way that these people are going to turn us back. Unlike with Kenya, where they were told that no, guys, we cannot allow you in. You don't have the exit stamps on your passport. We cannot allow you in. But they knew that in this country they were going to be allowed in, and this is the reason why they came in. And I actually don't believe that this was the first time this thing is happening. I don't believe so. I don't believe so. I believe that many people have actually been brought in this country. I believe that a lot of people have been brought in this country. These are the consequences, guys, of having people who don't care about the borders. They do not care about the borders. And of course, they're gonna expect these people to integrate with average South Africans, not with them. You know, yesterday when I heard that there's a plane that is stuck there at OR Tambo International Airport, and these are supposed Palestinians, I was shocked. I was shocked that I didn't see Ramaphosa and Malema there, because I thought that Ramaphosa and Malema would welcome these people and they would accommodate them in their house since they love them so much. But they didn't do that. Of course, the South African government is going to expect these people to be integrated with average South Africans, and average South Africans are quite shocked and they are scared about what is happening right now. They are scared. So I want us now to look at this statement that was released by the border management authorities. Guys, these people, men, are despicable. I don't want to lie. They are despicable. So this statement that was released by the border management, it says that the border management authority's statement on the passengers at OR Tambo International Airport. The commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Michael, has confirmed that 153 Palestinian travelers arrived at OR Tambo International Airport at about 8:15 a.m. this morning, yesterday, on the 13th of November, through a charter flight from Global Airways from Kenya. During the standard interview process conducted by the BMA immigration officers, the group did not indicate their duration of the stay in the country or the address of the accommodation in South Africa. The travelers also did not have the customary departure stamps from their passport. Following their failure to pass the immigration test, and given that none of the travelers expressed an intention to apply for asylum, they were initially denied entry. However, the Ministry of Home Affairs subsequently received correspondence from Gift of the Givers expressing their commitment to accommodate the travelers during their stay. Following this verification and intervention, the travelers have been admitted this evening. By the time of the admission on the 23rd of or on the 23rd of 153 travelers had already transferred from South Africa to their ultimate destinations. Therefore, only the remaining 130 passengers were processed into the country under the care of the Gift of the Givers. Given that the Palestinians are eligible for 90-day visa exempt travel to South Africa, they have been processed as per normal and will be required to adhere to all the conditions of the entry. The BMA will continue to strictly uphold the legal and regulatory frameworks of the Republic of South Africa. So now they are just trying to make it sound nice, like just trying to make it sound nice. But I think like that statement that the international relations they received the call from the Gift of the Givers, and the Gift of the Givers were like, guys, can you please allow these people in? And Roland Lamula was like, man, these people do not have the papers. And Suleiman was like, man, we don't care if these people do. We don't care if these people's papers are not right. But please, man, let these people in, man. I will owe you one. And Roland Lamula was like, fine, we're gonna allow them in. They are shameless, man. They are completely shameless. And now, the Gift of the Givers also released a statement yesterday, and this is the statement where they are thanking the Department of International Relations for allowing these people to come in the country. They are saying that the Gift of the Givers thanks the Department of International Relations, DG Zain, and Minister Ronald Lamola for receiving Palestinian refugees who arrived on a flight to Johannesburg this morning with open arms. This is in keeping South Africa's policy of standing with Palestine by taking the terrorist, genocidal, apartheid state of Israel to the International Court of Justice, ICC, and gardening a boycott of that country at Bogota. The Border Management Authority acted in keeping with their mandate not to allow passengers without an exiting stamp to disembark. Israel deliberately did not stamp the passports of poor people to exacerbate their suffering in a foreign country. We are grateful that the Minister of International Relations took the initiative to write to the Ministry of Home Affairs to waive this requirement. Yet this could have been implemented by Home Affairs unilaterally on humanitarian grounds. And you know, guys, what actually shocks me? What actually scares me about this whole thing? I'm thinking about that time where the Israelis bombed those people in Doha, those terrorists in Doha. And you remember the Israelis, they said that, man, you know, if there are people that we want, we don't care where these people are in the world, we will go after these people. And they bombed these people in Doha. What if some of these people, I mean, are wanted by the Israelis? Then what? Should we expect the bombs? And with the gift of the givers saying that, no, accommodate these people, allow these people coming in. How many of these people are coming? How many of them are coming? Because I'm sure, I'm sure a lot of them, they're like, oh my goodness, man, I need to go to South Africa. I need to go to South Africa. But just like the incident in Doha, what if it happens in this country? Are we ready for that? Are we ready for that? So Gift of the Givers continues to say that we thank the South African government for coming to the assistance of the Palestinian people yet again. Gift of the Givers with other civil society partners will provide humanitarian assistance to the refugees. We extend our particular gratitude to Nigel and all of the people from Gift of the Givers teams who assisted with the legal and medical care.
Have been very traumatized, but there's a back-end story to this. This is not the first plane. This is the second plane. On the 28th of October, a plane arrived in OR Tambo Airport, and these people were displaced. They didn't know where to go. They had no contact.
So you heard that, guys. This is the second plane. But the first plane you were not told about. This is the second plane. That's why I said at the beginning that I do not believe that this is the first time this has happened. Somehow this story, it leaked to the media. It leaked to the media. But I honestly believe that it has been happening for a long time. I believe so. So now the leader of Gift of the Givers, Dr. Suleiman, is telling you that this is the second plane. But the thing is that I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
People have been very traumatized, but there's a back-end story to this. This is not the first plane. This is the second plane. On the 28th of October, a plane arrived in OR Tambo Airport, and these people were displaced. They didn't know where to go. They had no contact numbers, no phone numbers. And a person called Nigel Bentley from the church found them and started putting them together with other civil society organizations, and members of my team got involved. I'm not sure how they found them, where they were displaced. There were 176 of them, and then some of them went back to other countries. The family members of this first group then told us yesterday that their family members are coming on the second plane, and nobody knew about that plane. And it seems from their feedback, Israel is voluntarily removing people from Gaza. This is ethnic cleansing at its best, and taking away their goods, their hygiene packs, their food, sending them onto chartered planes, and government has to investigate how people are coming on chartered planes without stamps. Israel did not stamp their passports, so they're sort of traveling illegally, brought into South Africa, and the second plane came in this morning at 8 o'clock. The Border Management Authority didn't allow them to get off the plane simply because they were following the rules, that there is no stamp on the passport. And they were trying to follow rules and not get into trouble for the stamp. I got hold of Zane Django. He's in Canada. Of course, he spoke to the minister and other people in DERCO. I spoke to the Border Management Authority, other people involved in this issue, and it was about the stamp. And of course, now this afternoon, the minister is writing to the Minister of Home Affairs, because that's his policy or his portfolio, to waive the stamp requirement, so these people then could come into the airport and come.
So the South African government were directed by the NGOs. The NGOs are running this country, guys. So whether you like it or not, the NGOs are running this country. There's absolutely nothing that the South African government can do. They are running this country.
To the country and seek asylum. What's worrying for me is, why should DERCO be writing to Home Affairs when Home Affairs themselves could have realized that this is a humanitarian crisis and they could have waived that requirement themselves without waiting for a letter to come from DERCO? In any case, they're there, they're hungry, there's a pregnant woman, there's children, they were caught in that plane for 8 or 10 hours, perspiring, the hair is soaked, the plane is in a terrible condition, no proper, the one toilet or two toilets is not enough, and those people are really distraught, coming from 2 years of genocide. We've provided meals, and it's not only us. Civil society organizations are getting involved. A lot of people have already offered food, clothing, medical support. Our medical teams did see the first team that came a few days ago, and now they are ready to check the second team out. And also, people have offered houses, and lots of people want to get involved. So we're very grateful for South Africans. We're grateful for the government for making this happen, in keeping with our policy of taking Israel to the ICC and to ICJ, and of course getting countries in Bogota to put sanctions against Israel. So we really appreciate the efforts of our government. It's just that the Border Management Authority had to follow the mandate, because these are civil servants. They can't do what they want. They have to follow.
So now, guys, I'm saying, South Africans must not be outraged. This is the consequences of their making. The South African voters must not be mad. They must not make noise. This is the consequences of their own making. This is what happens when you continuously put these people in power. This is what you get. This is what you get.
Well, it's quite disturbing, and I think the best way is to await the investigation. I think the investigation should be carried at two fronts. One is domestically, that this is a government of national unity, whether it is speaking with one voice or not, given the fact that our foreign policy is under ANC, while the Home Affairs under DA. We need to understand whether there were any implication based on that or not. At the second front of investigation is to the circumstances in which they left. Whether the Israelis' allegation made by other NGO bodies that claim it was a deliberate move, whether that is true or not.
And what is funny is that these organizations like Gift of the Givers, when they speak about these people that were on the aircraft, they don't talk about these young men who are fit. They don't talk about these young men. They make it sound like this plane was full of women and children. Pregnant women, pregnant women. Oh my goodness. Oh, pregnant women and children. They don't talk about these young men. And these are the people that South Africans are worried about. They don't talk about them. If you listen to these people, you would swear that this plane was full of women and children.
But in a normal circumstance, any plane that takes off going to another country, there are lots of communication. You know who is coming into your country, and the circumstance in which, and therefore it's quite shocking that the government did not know the circumstances in which they came. And
no, they knew. They knew. Global Airways had already exposed them that they knew. They knew. Them pretending like they didn't know. It was just them trying to play a game with South Africans, but they knew.
Therefore, I think at this stage, circumstances and on the eve of G20, it's just a wait and see. However, I think the government has to improve communication to ensure that the public is quite aware before the arrival of groups such as.
And to be clear, we don't yet know how much the South African government knows about the unfolding situation. We're going in the main on a statement from Gift of the Givers that says government was aware, or the International Relations Department was aware, and that there'd been, according to the organization, some sort of agreement to waive the requirement around the necessary stamps when you depart a foreign country to be allowed to get into South Africa, right? But given that context, does that put the South African government on the back foot regarding this situation and how it's going to unfold, or at least, at the very least, be perceived?
Yeah, and if that is the case, it's even a worst case, because it appears that the government is not speaking with one voice. And under normal circumstances, if the Foreign Affairs, DERCO in this particular, it's a lead department, if it has allowed for them to come in, it works with Home Affairs. and therefore there shouldn't have been any technical issue, given the fact that there is a humanitarian issue here. And therefore, I think it's good for South Africa to accept the refugees, but the communication remains a major challenge. You have to inform the public and way ahead of time so that we're not surprised, and facilitate the arrival so that this issues is not handled by any ordinary officer, but a special passage is created for them to come in without spending 10 hours at the airport.
Guys, I don't know, man. I don't know, guys. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I don't have a good feeling about this one. I don't have a good feeling about this one, but then I'm not shocked because this is the ANC through and through. What are your thoughts, guys? What are your thoughts? Please tell me what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to hit the like button and the most important part. Subscribe. My name is Thomas Mabaso. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.